I had my own long and winding journey to love. And one of my challenges, and I think that it's common to many of the women in this audience, is I did grow up in a time where women had new opportunities, and I wanted to be fully expressed in those ways. And I was proud of my independence and what I'd accomplished. And it was almost like, for some of that time, a badge of honor that I didn't need a man. And yet, at times, this deep desire, sometimes in a very surprising and poignant way, would rise up inside of me, and I would realize that I really did desire that on a very deep level, even to the point where I did recognize that it was a need. It was something I really wanted and needed in my life. And what I find in speaking with women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, which are mainly the women that I work with, is many of us, and myself included, are in that boat, and yet we actually long for, on some levels, to have that masculine, feminine dynamic in some of the more traditional ways, but we still want to feel like we're fully expressed and able to show our strength and our independence as well. And so it creates a bit of confusion. But just as an example, when I got married, I had been in some corporate jobs where I traveled a lot and I drove around and did customer-facing meetings and that sort of thing a lot. And then all of a sudden, my husband was doing more of the driving when we did things together. And John, this sounds like a simple thing, but I can remember saying to my husband many times, it's such a relief for me to just be able to sit back and relax and let you drive and get us there. Now, I'm perfectly capable of driving, but that was a luxury that I really enjoyed. And I think this tricky part is that part of us desires some of the aspects of kind of the more traditional male-female roles, and then part of us wants to, not feel like we're being suppressed or that we're not fully expressed in our own capacity and capabilities. And I think this is part of what you're talking about and what your new book is about. There's some confusion around all of this. It creates a lot of chaos and some craziness between both men and women. Again, I gave a big statement there, but yeah, pick up wherever you like there.
Oh, I just want to acknowledge the wisdom that comes out of you. That was such a beautiful example of what I'm talking about, which is, yes, I can drive myself, and I do that. I'm very independent. And yes, I have a female side that wants someone to do something for me. And I can just relax. And I'm just putting myself in the position of your husband for a moment. And what a nice thing it was that you said to him. You see, you gave him the message that he was providing something that you needed, okay, that was useful for you. Let me, fulfill something that's useful for you. And I know it's a little confusing between desire, wanting something, and needing something. And, they feel kind of the same, but actually needing is where you're depending on someone else, something outside yourself. And wanting is really more about depending on yourself to achieve the goal. I want to make a difference in the world. I want my house to be wonderful, so I'm going to take action on that. I'm going to do it myself. So the difference between wanting, desire, is based a lot on there's something I don't have, there's something out there that I want, and I'm going to do something about it. And again, if men have a goal, or women, you have a goal, but particularly for men, when you're on your goal side, you're on your male side, and that strengthens masculinity. And what's happening today, as women have gone to their male side, they have difficulty coming back to their happy, loving, fulfilled female side. You were able to do it. You were able to recognize, my ego's not so big that I have to do everything myself. I can allow him to do something for me and appreciate it. That was the beautiful thing about it. The metaphor I use is, when I take my wife on a romantic date, I always go over and open the door for her. If we're just doing work day, we rush and get in the car, we're off to do something. But we're on a date, she'll stand by the door and I'll open the door. And certainly she can open the door for herself. But when I open the door for her, basically the message, it's a symbol, it's a romantic message. And it's saying, you do so much for people all the time. Let me do something for you. So this evening's about you. Let me take care of you. Let me give to you. And that's what women need to get. And romance is a two-way street, but it's not both of them giving to each other. It's really more about men doing for women and women responding to his doing in a way that says what he did was helpful, made you happier, made you feel safe, made you feel comfortable, made you feel at ease. Safety, comfort, and happy. But safety is the most important. Next is comfort. Oh, I can relax. I don't have to do everything. And then you get to be happier than where you were. And a man can provide that. So these are like the messages that you want to give to a man when you are dating a man, is consistently giving him little messages that say, and this is a simple takeaway, but sometimes things are simple. Like you gave your example of just being in the car and going, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to drive now. Or I'm so glad you're here. I don't have to do this all by myself. I'm just glad you're here so I don't have to sit here and be alone. Just nice things that make a man feel like he has a meaning in your life. Because if you turn it around, look at what's happened to men. We grew up in a world, and we came from a world, and all of our traditions and culture and conditioning is all about women were dependent on men. And so we felt needed. So it was just kind of like, well, how she can't get a job, she's pregnant and no birth control, no education, she's dependent on me. So it empowered men. It gave men a sense of, I've got a role in the life. I've got a mission. I've got purpose. And suddenly now women are making more money than men. Women are more independent. They don't need men. Why would a woman need me? That's what women have to get, is deep inside. There's this insecurity inside of men, and they're moving to their female side because the male side is weakening. And literally, biologically, we see this to be the case. Men at 35 years old, their testosterone levels are dropping. And it's happening even sooner for some. Boys are being, growing up in our world today, they're hitting puberty 2 years later than they used to. And girls are hitting puberty 2 years earlier. So this is another phenomena which is affecting women, not just the social pressures on women to be more independent and so forth. And also the need to not be oppressed and suppress your male. You said it very beautifully, which is a woman has two sides, her masculine side, her female side. Every man has a masculine side and a female side. And for women, for thousands of years, the male side has been suppressed. And for men, his female side is suppressed. But we've gone through a conscious awakening. We basically are saying, I want more. It's soulmate relationship. And soulmate relationship, as I define it, is simply a relationship that provides you the emotional support you need to fully express your authentic self. It's a relationship that has communication skills and insights and behaviors that provide for you the emotional support you need, the safety, the comfort, the wisdom, allow you to fully express all of who you are, your unique self, without repression. And so we have to look at all these sort of ways we've pushed ourselves down. And, one of the biggest travesties is to see weakness, to see femininity as weakness. And that's how it's seen, not just by men, but by women more. If I'm vulnerable, if I'm in touch with my feelings, if I reveal what's inside of me, I'll be seen as crazy. I'll be seen as needy. I'll be seen as weak.